Back at it with another one. Blue is our city. Manchester City Football Club. Who we talking about? Talking about Manchester City, bro. After that loss yesterday, man, I'm still hurt. I'm still fuming. I can't really say I'm like really into the world with it, but I'm still a little hurt. I'm not gonna lie. Like just to keep losing that same type of match to where counterattacking football. People are setting up against us, low block, defending against us, and just hitting us on the counterattack. So I'm so tired of that loss. I'm just bored of it at this point. But we're gonna try to get through it. But today what we'll be talking about is really five things that we learned from yesterday's match against Tottenham, where they just waxed us. But the first talking point. We're gonna talk about Bernardo, right? And I know everybody's been dogging Bernardo. I know everybody's got an opinion about him. I'm not going to go there in this match because I am, and let's keep it real. I think most City fans are really thankful to Bernardo for what he did in 18-19. And maybe he hasn't hit the stride that we would like him to be at right now. That's due to whatever reason. I don't know if it's his mind frame. I just don't know if his positioning. I mean, is he a winger? Is he a midfielder? Where does he want to play? Because it looks like right now when he's playing in that position next to Rodri in that kind of slight double pivot role, it's just not working out for him. And yesterday, even when we look at that match yesterday, I mean, he was all over the pitch. There was times that he was on the right, and I thought he was better on the right as a midfielder. There were times where he was as a left wing back, like or left winger at times too. And I really don't know what is down to him. What's going on with him. I don't know if him and Guardiola are just not seeing eye to eye right now as far as the position that he wants to play. Did he go to Pep and be like, "Yo, I want to play in the midfield and put me next to Rodri next to this role"? Did he request that, or did Pep saying, "Bro, that's the only way you're gonna get into this team because I'm not going to have you again on the right wing for whatever reason." So I don't really know. I'm not going to get into that, but I think we're really long term going to have to look at a decision that has to be made with Bernardo, whether we're going to keep him or whether we're going to sell him. And that's more than just his style of play and how he's doing right now. I don't personally want to get rid of Bernardo right now. I just think that we need to work with Bernardo to find out what his position is on the field. Is there a way that he can play left winger, and then put Sterling on the right? Like, I would love to see that. Or is he just going to be a right winger and we need to work with him in training to only be in that position? All of this fluidity and switching him from one position to another position, he's not getting in rhythm. And I know he came back late from training, so maybe that has a lot to do with it right now. Or, like I said, I don't know if it's his mind frame from last season. I'm not getting into that, but I think we have to really start asking ourselves, is it Bernardo's fault? Is it what Pep is asking him to do that maybe he's just not capable of? I mean, he's not really David Silva. Like, in my opinion, David Silva is more of a midfielder. Yes, we saw him playing left wing for times under Pellegrini and Mancini. We seen him all over the place, but he was really a midfielder, and he might have been short, but he was just throwing his body around. And Bernardo really doesn't do that in that particular position when he plays next to Rodri. And I don't think he's the quickest as far as trying to get back in the defensive position. So we really have to work out his position and whether he's going to be a winger primarily, whether he's going to be in the midfield. And I'm going to touch upon Bernardo right now, but I just don't think we need to sell him just yet. I know some people figure out like, yo, I'm tired of him right now for whatever reason. I'm not there with it, but we just got to figure out a way to satisfy him and make sure we're getting the most out of him. Because at this point, he's what we got. So at this point number two, it's going to be really around leadership of the team. Like right now, I think we really have to look at who are our leaders on the team, on the pitch. Like we know Kevin's a leader. Kevin wears the armband, and I think we have to even take it further than that. Obviously we lost Vincent Company, we lost Yaya, we lost David Silva. Fernandinho's up there in age, Aguero's up there in age. And so those two players are really the last two that are really from the Mancini era that had that type of fight with them. And I think Kevin has that fight already in him, but we have to look at these other players and start to question their leadership capabilities. But there's one thing that I did notice yesterday after the match, doing a little research and kind of reading around, and I saw that Diaz came out and said basically that he alluded to that we have to be more clinical, we have to be better. We he basically alluded saying that hey, like he didn't come here just to get these type of results. He really came here to win. And as much possession as we had, he doesn't care about possession. He's like, bro, if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, it doesn't matter. And I like that attitude in him. So I think that he's somebody that we have to keep watching and see how he develops, because if he does have that type of fight, if he does have that type of leadership capabilities, then we need to get it out of him. Rodri is another person. I don't know whether Rodri has the leadership capability that we all want from him, meaning that we all want him to be Fernandinho, but at this point, he's not Fernandinho. So we just have to really look at, who our leaders are going to be. Is Rodri going to be one of our leaders? Because when I look at the matches, and feel free out there to let me know if you guys are seeing something different than what I'm seeing. Feel free to let me know. But the one thing that I'm noticing is that Rodri is doing a lot of talking. He is the one that's communicating, and I used to think like Laporte was the one that was doing a lot of communicating, but I'm not really seeing Laporte doing a lot of communicating. And it seems to be Diaz has that leadership, that vocal capability. Rodri's trying, but maybe our expectations of him are off. So I really do like the fact that, like I said, Diaz is out there. He's like, yo, I don't give a damn about any of that. I don't care. I only care about winning, and that's all that matters. So I like a little bit of that fight and that determination. Rodri is a process. I don't know if he's going to be around long term. Like I said, I don't. Me personally, I don't have dreams that he's going to be Fernandinho. I did initially when we first got him, but I'm starting to realize that he's just not that type of player, and we just got to figure out another way that we can really get the best out of him. You know what I'm saying? So that way we can learn how to be a better team. My third point, number three. There we go. So we got to talk about Kevin De Bruyne, not in a bad way. We're not talking about Kevin necessarily in a bad way, but when we listen to, I tune into other YouTube channels. I listen to what some of the banter is out there about Kevin, and right now everybody's kind of having a pop at Kevin, saying Kevin's not, really, gun ho or hitting the ground running right now with this season, and. My take on that is I think right now he's just trying to do a little bit too much. He's everywhere on the pitch. Like yesterday, specifically when I watched the game against Tottenham, there were times he was, like I said, was on the right in the midfield. There were times he was on the left. There were times that he was left wing, right wing. He was just everywhere. But the problem with that is that teams are now starting to figure us out. If Kevin goes so far forward, Rodri does have a tendency to kind of get forward in there. So when he gets too far forward and Kevin's too far forward, it leaves us vulnerable. If you look at their second goal when Lo Celso scored and Harry Kane dropped, everybody was just so far forward. And then you seen Kevin have to do the mad dash, bro, to even get back in the picture. And at the end, he just couldn't catch up with Lo Celso. But Kyle Walker was so far forward. Raji was out of the picture. And then I saw Kevin running back. So my point in what I'm trying to say is this: we all love Kevin De Bruyne. We know that he is class. He's the best midfielder in the Premier League, in my opinion. Even still to this day, I know other teams got their players and they hit the ground running, but I think the talent is there. He just got to slow down a little bit and not put so much on his shoulders. And what would help him, in my opinion, is like Guardiola needs to simplify his role a little bit. Like he's in that position to where we know he's going to free roam all around the pitch. But imagine if he was the person that was next to Rodri, kind of in that double pivot role, and then more so getting the hockey assist, meaning that he would lead to the pass that might free up to the next pass that gets the assist. Because at the end of the day, Kevin's a bigger player. He's bigger than Bernardo. He's bigger than Foden. He's bigger in his stature. So when the ball is up in the air, he can jump a little bit higher and he's in better position to be there because Bernardo can't do that by himself. We've already seen that. And then we've all kind of not really been a fan of Gundogan and Rodri together. So I think it would help Kevin temporarily, and Guardiola should not be afraid to do it. Put Kevin in more of that box to box role, and then that way you can put in that cam position, try Bernardo there. Maybe Bernardo doesn't work, but then put Foden there because we have seen times where Kevin can be effective. Kind of like how Solskjaer was kind of for United, how Solskjaer was trying to use Matic in that role with Pogba being that box to box and then having Bruno forward. But Kevin has to play that position. We don't have nobody else. It's Gundogan or it's nobody, bro. Because Kevin can't be so far forward and leave Bernardo by himself back there. So we just got to work that out and figure out what he's doing. But I think that once he settled down, he gets a little bit of his positioning correct. We'll still see the same Kevin De Bruyne, and he's going to be meant to the end of the season. So just slow down with that. Number four. We got to talk about this now. You guys have been watching City. You guys are City fans. That's who I'm talking to. Feel free to let me know if you're liking the video, like the content, share it, subscribe it. But also feel free to comment at me. Let me know some points that you want to talk about. But for what I see as number four, Guardiola has got to start playing our youth players. He has got to start playing our youth, and I'm kind of throwing Foden in that mix right now because personally, like Foden should have got on a little bit earlier in yesterday's match. Like when we were always looking at the match, anybody watching that match could have saw at halftime that we needed a little bit more creativity or a little bit more spunk. A little bit, so I think Foden would have brought that on. But there's been numerous times this year where Guardiola's had chances to play Foden, and he doesn't play him for whatever reason. And I know yesterday, and I'm not faulting him for yesterday. I'm not going to get into yesterday, but I think Guardiola saw the size of Tottenham. He knows how Mourinho plays ball, so he's like, yo, I don't want to go with a smaller player in that position. So he put I think tried Bernardo there, and thought Bernardo was going to do that, but he just didn't get Foden for whatever reason. He just didn't give Foden a chance to do that position. But he has got to start playing Foden so that way we can see Foden and De Bruyne on the pitch at the same time. He has got to start doing that. Like there's too many times to where he's either forcing Gundogan and Rodri with Kevin to be there. Let Kevin and Foden play together. We saw that against Liverpool after the restart. So what's the worst that can happen, bro? So he just has got to start playing Foden. Second young player, he has got to start playing. And yesterday cried out for it. Look, whatever his philosophies on Liam Delap is, I don't know, bro. Or maybe he just does. He seen Delap is not strong enough to be a striker. But if you look at yesterday specifically, we're getting the ball on the wide pitch area. So they letting us have the ball out there all day. But we got Jesus up front by himself. He's got Alderweireld in there. He's got Eric Dyer next to him. He had nothing that he can do. Hoiberg's dipping in. He was just like one person with like four people around him. Guardiola, if he wanted to, he can easily put either Delap up there with Jesus and just be able to play them too and see if we can just create something, nick a goal, do something, bro. Like I don't understand why he is not playing Delap. Like just put him in there as a two. You don't have to put him in there as the one where he's the primary striker in a 4-3-3 or whatever system you want to play. But let's just try with two strikers up there. I know he's never going to do a 4-4-2. I never expect that. But there are going to be times to where he just needs to put, another striker up in there because we're going to see that again to where people are going to be defending against a low block and we're going to need a little bit of height in there just to try to nick the ball. So Pep, I know it's never going to happen. Maybe it's wishful thinking as a City fan, but just try it out. Fifth thing, last thing. Maybe we have to cool our expectations on the season. Like for me personally, I'm gonna tell you where I was at with it. You know, I figured it was going to be us and Liverpool coming into the beginning of the year. I figured Chelsea was not going to win the league this year because their players just needed time to gel because they brought so many new players in. So I never thought that they was going to be. I thought Tottenham was going to be better. So I always picked Tottenham would be giving us a fight. But honestly, I thought it was going to be us and Liverpool coming into the year because we had just bought Ruben Diaz, we got Ake. So I figured we was just trying to improve upon the disappointment and the hurt of last year for whatever reason. But maybe we gotta cool our expectations because for me personally, I thought that Liverpool got their injury, so I thought that wow that they lost VVD. It's our opportunity. It's our opportunity. We got a game in hand. Yo, this is our opportunity. But maybe we're seeing right now that this team is just not there yet for whatever reason. And is it a matter of I thought we was gonna win the league? I'm like, yo, we coming back. We're still dealing with all the things that we going on right now in 2020. But I figured that, bro, like this will be the year for us. But maybe this is not going to be our year to win the league. We're going to have to cool our expectations a little bit. Um, is this a year of rebuilding? Is this going to be a year of rebuilding, figuring out the players that we got, are they going to be rocking with us for this next 2 years or even after Guardiola's done after this year? So we're going to have to cool our expectations. And I'm going to end with a positivity or a little bit of positivity as a City fan. That's what we do. We're going to love our team. We're going to battle for our team. And if our team play like crap, we're going to talk about them, but we're not going to let nobody else talk about them. because we are City fans at the end of the day. So my point that I want to say is that yo, honestly, it's not the end of the world. Just know it's not the end of the world. We played what 8 games. We got 1 game in hand. It's a long season left to go, and maybe the team might just hit a stride to where things start falling together. And right now we're 8 points behind, but maybe we can make those points up. And we're seeing that Torres is starting to learn how he could be a little bit more physical. Ruben Diaz is starting to figure out the Premier League. Laporte and Diaz are kind of working out their partnership, learning where their vulnerabilities are. And then the good news for Pep is that Pep is going to have to answer tough questions this year. Are we going to keep Gabriel Jesus? So this is a year where Pep's going to have to make some tough decisions. And as we're learning this all together, Pep's going to make decisions throughout the year, and I think it will get better. So stay tuned. See you guys next time. Peace.